Today I will talk to you about the authorization for relatives of Spaniards, a new provision that comes with the new immigration regulation, which will start to be in effect from May 20th. However, in some cases it might be interesting to submit the application earlier to save time, because most immigration offices in Spain do not resolve applications in just 2 months, which is the time left until May, but usually take longer. And in that line of thought, if we manage to have it in process by May 20th, we can also ensure that it is processed under the new regulations, even if it was submitted earlier. This way, time is saved, but well, I will explain that to you in just a moment. Let's go! The new authorization for relatives of Spaniards brings important novelties. It's not just a formal change, it's not simply the dismantling of the family roots process as we explained in another video, which basically involved taking all the cases of relatives of Spaniards that are currently processed. This was recorded in March 2025 under the figure of family roots. It wasn't just about taking them all and placing them under a new authorization figure for relatives of Spaniards, but it's something more substantial. The change, as you will see, as this video unfolds. Let's start from the beginning. Who can benefit from this new authorization figure for relatives of Spanish people? Okay, so we have the typical cases. Parents, children, partners, spouse, registered partner, non-registered partner. And we even have the case of extended family, which is any relative who is economically dependent on you. And if they are a minor, then also that you have been assigned their custody and personal care. So to summarize, basically, any relative of a Spanish citizen can benefit from this figure, whether it is more or less easy. Doing so will depend on the strength of that bond in closer relationships. It is much easier, like children, spouse or partner, and as you move away from that circle, it becomes more complicated. As in the case of parents, siblings, nephews, and all other types of family that of course belong to the family. Extended family, it becomes more complicated. And it's no longer enough just to have the bond, but you also have to meet more requirements, like economic dependency, which basically means you send them money every month, and the material need for help, which means that family member needs the help you provide because they cannot support themselves on their own. But to answer the question of who can benefit from this arrangement, well, there it is. All relatives of a Spanish citizen is to know, and the stronger that bond, the easier it is to benefit. The weaker the bond, the more distant they are from the core, the less easy it is to benefit. But the scope of application is for everyone. From where can this application be requested? This is a very important point and one of the major new features that this arrangement brings. And as of today, likewise, all these relatives, it can be said that they can fall within the scope of a family reunification or a community card, but those authorizations were different in terms of the place from where they could be requested. This brings significant new features in that regard, as it broadly establishes the possibility of applying for it only, given that it first presents the possibility of applying for it. In all cases, via consular means, that is, with the relative being outside of Spain. In all cases, this can be done, which did not happen, for example, with family reunification, which did not allow any type of visa. Therefore, no type of consular application is possible in all cases. Regardless of the strength of the proximity bond, all cases can be applied for via consular means. What is an important first difference with family reunification? As I said, everything from Spain. And this is another difference with this because this does not allow everything from Spain. It does allow everything via consular means, as I mentioned, but not everything from Spain. From Spain, only up to the children. And the new figure allows applications to be submitted from Spain, except for children over 18 years old, parents of any age, and extended family. That is, any other relative who is not a parent, child, partner, or spouse who is dependent on you. They will not be able to apply from Spain, nor will children over 18, and neither the parents. It is important to mention at this point that there is a transitional provision that will allow parents and children of Spaniards to apply from Spain, as long as, by November 19, 2024, which was when the new immigration regulation was published, those people were in Spain. So if there were children over 18 or parents of any age who were in Spain by November 19, 2024, then those people during the first 6 months after May 20, 2025 will be able to request their authorization from Spain. Only those people. After those first 6 months, applications for residence and work authorization for relatives of Spanish people submitted from Spain will definitively end. In the case where the link is children over 18 or parents, the case of extended family does not have any transitional provision, therefore that from May 20th, 2025, any possibility is removed of being able to apply from Spain, and applications will only be accepted via consular means, that is, with the family member being outside. Since we are discussing the procedure and touching on important differences, let's move on to another of the important differences, and it is the possibility of working once the application for the residence and work authorization is submitted for being a family member of a Spaniard. This will only apply to the cases of children of a spouse or partner and parents of Spanish persons over 18 years old, because if it is a Spaniard under 18 years old, then this advantage cannot be used, as that is another case. You might think this doesn't make much sense, and the truth is, you're right. It doesn't seem fair that the parent of an adult Spaniard is allowed to work from the application, but not the parent of a minor Spaniard, especially if it is therefore considered that the expenses incurred by a Spanish minor in most cases are greater than the expenses he or she demands. An adult child, so this distinction makes no sense. We would hope that in the future, the case of parents of minor Spaniards will also be included among those allowed to work from the application. But for now, unfortunately, that's the situation. Applying for this type of authorization will grant you a residence and work permit for 5 years. Initially, or for as long as your Spanish relative plans to live in Spain, that's what the document states. Now, regarding the requirements in all cases, obviously if you are of legal age, if you are an adult, in all cases, obviously proving the relationship in all cases, having no criminal record as long as you are already of legal age. In most cases, economic dependency is required. Basically in all cases except in the case that you are the spouse or partner of a Spanish citizen, in the case that you are the parent of a Spanish minor, in the case that you are a caregiver of a Spanish citizen who needs you to exercise their legal capacity, and in the case that you are the child of a Spanish man or woman by origin. This is not a situation like the normal one of being a child, under 25 or over 25, no. It is a situation used exclusively for children of Spanish citizens by origin who are not dependent, who do not live with the Spanish citizen, and in many cases the Spanish citizen is even deceased. It is a special case. In those cases I just mentioned, you do not need to prove that you are economically dependent on the Spanish citizen, but in all other cases, yes. Well, not prove, but in all other cases, it is a requirement that you are dependent on the Spanish citizen. In some cases it is presumed, such as for children under 26 years old, but in others it must be proven, like in the case of parents under 80, or for extended family members, those of the extended family. This broad concept with so many scenarios can be somewhat cumbersome. That's why, if you want to save yourself from this entire process, we, who dedicate ourselves to this every day, can hear about your personal situation and chart the best path for you, like towards your legal residency, the best way to obtain your documents or those of your family member if you are Spanish, or even the nationality. Well, in the pinned comment you have a link, there you can schedule a consultation with me or a member of my team. Most of these consultations are free, so take advantage. As you have seen, this concept introduces significant changes, which means that there are currently scenarios where it is very worthwhile to make the application. Don't wait until May 20th, because that can complicate things quite a bit for you, as in the case of ascendance. If you are the parent of a Spanish citizen, then the best time to apply for your residence and work authorization is now. If you wait until after May 20th, the age requirement increases. It will no longer be from 65 when you don't have to prove economic dependency, but from 80. Therefore, parents under 80 will have to prove economic dependency, which until now only applied to parents under 65. So it is very worthwhile to make the application now. Additionally, something else changes, and that is currently most immigration offices are not focusing on the issue of necessity. Material support for parents under 65 years old. In the vast majority of cases, it is simply proven. Economic dependency, money transfers, cohabitation, and they grant the residence authorization. Starting from May 20th, it is highly likely that they will begin to request. Also, it must be proven that this parent cannot support themselves, that they have a material need for assistance, that they are poor, have no income, properties, and that there is no family more obligated to help them. Things get very complicated. Therefore, in the case of Spanish ascendants, it is indeed advisable to submit the application now. Similarly, in the case of extended family, especially if that family member is in Spain, because after May 20th, those cases of extended family will not be able to apply for their residence permit from Spain. They will have to be outside. So in that case, especially if the family member is currently in Spain, it is advisable to submit the application now. Remember, extended family includes everyone who is not parents, children, or a partner or spouse. Also, if you are an ascendant for this same reason, it is advisable to submit the application now, especially if you were not in Spain on November 19th, 2024, because that means you will not be able to request your authorization after May 20th if you are in Spain. So it's another reason to do it now if you are an ascendant in Spain. Remember that we have a satisfaction guarantee according to which if you do not obtain your residence permit, if you do not obtain your nationality, you do not pay us. Not a cent. It applies unconditionally. I will explain it to you on the day of your consultation, or another member of my team will, but generally it works like this. Also remember that if you want to see us in a more relaxed, friendly and approachable manner, you can find us on our Instagram at Legal and Hispana Official. There we publish all kinds of content and we would be delighted to connect with you there. Sorry for my throat. I didn't mention it at the beginning, but I'm saying it now as it's starting to fail more. It might be making strange sounds, it's a bit affected, but it's nothing serious. We don't miss our commitment to upload daily videos, and that's why, sincerely, because they are valuable and daily videos, it's important for you to subscribe to stay updated on all the immigration and nationality news in Spain. 1,000 thanks for your like, for your comment, for sharing this with someone you think it might help, and for subscribing. As I already mentioned, it's important for us to stay motivated to keep doing this. 1,000 thanks for watching us. See you next time.